welcome back to week 11 MySQL session number 1. In this session, we will learn more about primary key and foreign key, which you have learned, you have gone through before. So we will be talking about practically how to use primary key and foreign key. Then we will learn about alter table and insert statements. Alter means modify, how to change. Insert means how to insert record. So let's begin with this, and first of all we will see how to set up primary key and foreign key relationship between two tables. This is what we have learned in the previous class. We discussed about how to create database, how to create tables, and I hope you have done all this homework very nicely. And so I will just go ahead, and don't forget this command use your database, right? Show command also, please remember that it will give you some information about database. Show database, you have to remember this. Then drop database will drop the database from the server. So you have to remember these command: drop database name. So we have done all these things in the previous class. In the previous class we also discussed about integer data types. There are two of them which you can use. Also there are some fractional data types where you can use some points like 39.5. so this is called as fractional data type, that is float. Okay. Also double. Float can hold small number, whereas double can hold large number. Then we had discussed about date. So these are the three data types which you can use to store some date. Okay, and then we saw how to create table, and a describe command also I have shown you. A describe command will give you more information about the columns of the table. So what are the columns, what is the name of the column, what is the size of the column, all this information you can see by using this command called describe. So we have already seen this, and then we had discussed about constraints. I showed you how to use primary key constraint. Then I had also shown you what is unique constraint. Primary key constraint: if any column has primary key constraint, then you cannot repeat the value. Okay. Unique constraint is also, if you use unique constraint, then you cannot repeat the value of that column. But then what is the difference between primary key and unique key? The difference is you can use primary key to connect to another table by using foreign key, which you have learned in RDBMS. So you can have a primary key and you can connect with another table which will have the foreign key. Today we will learn about foreign key constraint, and we will see some example how to use primary key and foreign key constraint. So first of all, you can remember how to set up a primary key of a table. Like this is product table, and I want this product ID to be primary key. So we can use primary key product ID, right? Then how to use unique constraint? You can set up the unique constraint. Just below to that you can use constraint, then you can give some name of your constraint, and then you have to use a function funcfa unique, and then you have to give the name of the column which you want to be unique value. Like I want my product name to be unique all the time, so I can use this column in the unique function, and it will help me to insert unique value in this column, right? Then the next thing is foreign key constraint. Now this is very important for today's session. So let's begin with this part here. It removes the inconsistency in two tables when the data in one table depends on the data in the another table. Okay, so if you have two tables, let me draw one picture for you. So let's take an example like here. You have a table called student. Okay, this is my student table, and in this student table I want to store the ID and name of the student. So I will just put here ID and name. This is the information I have. Okay, then I have another table called student marks. This is another table. The name of the table is student marks, where I can store the marks of the student, right? Now what columns I am going to have here? I can have, like, Java marks. So here you can have Java marks. Here you can have some MySQL marks. Okay, but you need to connect this to table. Okay, you have to connect this to table. So here in this table my ID will be primary key. It is going to be primary key. So I will just say PK. So the value of this ID should not change, it should not repeat, right? So 1, then I have 2, then here I'm going to have ID which is going to be a foreign key, FK, foreign key. Okay, and this column will connect to this column. Okay, you want to link, you want to connect the ID of this table with the ID of this table. You want to connect that. Okay, so how can you do that? How can you connect the primary key of one table with the foreign key of another table, and why it is important? Are you understanding? So we need to discuss about these two important things. So let's continue. A foreign key in a table always refer, that means always link to the primary key of another table. That means a foreign key of one table will always be connected to the primary key of another table. Am I clear with this? A table containing the primary key that is referred as foreign key in another table is known as the master or referenced table. Okay, so I repeat, a table containing the primary key that is referred as foreign key in another table is known as the master or referenced table. So this is referenced table. Okay, it is being referenced by another table which holds the foreign key. The table containing the foreign key. Now this table is having the foreign key that refers to the primary key. Now it refers, that means it links to the primary key or refers to the primary key of another table is known as transactional or referencing table. So this is referenced table and this is referencing table. Now this is important word, referenced. Okay, and this is referencing. So this table is referenced, or you can say used, and this table is referencing, or you can say using. So a simple word for referenced is used. Okay, and a simple word for referencing is using. So who is being used and who is using? So this table is used by this table and this table is using this table, right? So this is all about primary key and foreign key. Now let us take a look at syntax. What is syntax? Syntax means rule. Okay, so let's take a look at rule. So create table, table name, some columns, and then you can put constraint. Look at this example. For example, create table if not exist. Okay, this is optional. If you want to use is okay, if you don't want to use is also okay. So it is not mandatory or compulsory that you have to use this file. Okay, so create table, table name, and then order ID. These are all my columns: product ID, customer ID, quantity, order. Now look at this line here. Now here I'm saying I'm creating a foreign key. So constraint fk1. Okay, this is the name of the foreign key. Sorry, this is the name of the constraint. Foreign key product ID. So which column you want to be a foreign key? This column. Okay, this is going to be my foreign key, and it will reference to which table. So this foreign key references to product table, and which column in the product table? Product ID. Okay, and you can have, now one table can have many foreign key. I repeat, one table can have many foreign key. Okay, but one table can have only one primary key. Do you understand that? So here I can have another foreign key, fk2. What is that? Customer ID. Okay, and it references to which table? It references to customer table. Which ID? Which column? Customer ID. So these are my two foreign keys, and it is referencing this two table: product table and customer table, and these are the primary key in this table. Okay, in these tables. I hope you have understood this. Now let's take a look at one example in MySQL server. First of all, so here I have increased this font. Now you can increase to, okay, you can make it small and you can make it big here. Okay, what you have to do is press the control button and scroll the mouse. So when I scroll the mouse, it can grow small and big. Okay, so now let's do one thing. First let's create a database. So create database, HUEL. Okay, that is Hwan Institute of Economics and Law. Okay, so let's select this and let's create this table, sorry, database. So my database is created. You can see here, create database HUL. You can refresh here and you will see that HUL database is created. Now do we have table? No, we don't have table. So now we have to create a table. So let's create a table. Create table. I'm going to say student info. Okay, this is my table name. Now what I want in this table, I want ID, which is going to be int, not null. That means we should not put null in this column. Next, what I want is name. You can use varchar 25, and you can say name should also not be null, so you can say not null. Okay, the next we want is age. Okay, age can be int. Then age should also be not null. Okay, then we want address. So let's put here address. For address I'm going to use varchar and here I will use 35 because address is little bigger, and also the not null. The user must insert values for address, so I'm saying not null. Okay, then what else you can do? So country, for country you can use varchar again, and here you can use only 10 characters, and you can see not the country can remain null. Okay, so this is my table which I want to create. So select your query from here, select and execute, and my table is created. You can refresh here and you will see hey, did I use, yeah, that's wrong, because this table is created inside HYIT, right? Why? Because I forgot to write a command use. Yes or no? So that's a mistake I have done. So what I will do, I will right click and I will cut this. Okay. And I will also say drop table student info. So drop this table from here, select execute. It is dropped. You can see it's gone here. Now let's do this use. Okay, I want to use this database. Okay, so select use HUL, select your query and do that. Now you can see it has become a dark, right? Now close this because I want to work in this database. Now you can right click and paste your query, right? I hope you are understanding this. What you have to do now, tell me. Select your query and execute and then refresh. Now I get my table student info in HUEL database. Yes or no? Yes. Good, very nice. What next we have to do is we have to create another table, that is student marks. So you can just modify this here. You can say student marks. Then what I want in the student marks table, I have to decide that. I want Java marks. So you can say Java marks int, not null. Okay. Next I want MySQL marks. You can say int, not null. Okay, that's it. That's all I want here. So select your query and execute your command here, and you can refresh and I will get my two table here, right? Student info and student marks. Very good. Now what? Now I want to use I want to connect. Okay, I want to connect a student info table with student marks table using primary key and foreign key. I need to connect these two tables. They are not connected, right? Why they are not connected, I will show you. Just a second. Okay, let's put insert here. Okay, insert into let's insert into student marks table. So insert into student marks values. Now you can give some values. In student marks, the first column is ID. Yes or no? I will put 1 here, comma. Second is Java marks. I will put 95. Third is MySQL marks. I will put 88. Okay. Now let's select this and execute. And you will see that my command is successful, right? Now let's say select star from student marks. Okay, so select star from student marks and execute, and you will see that ID number 1 Java marks is 95 and MySQL marks is 88. Hey, but do we have a student with this ID? Maybe not. Okay, why? Because let's write another query here. Select star from student info. Okay, so I'm writing two queries, one on student marks and the second query is on student info. So let's select the two query and hit execute. I need to put here semicolon because we have to tell that it's an end of my first query. Okay, let's select execute, and you will see that this is my marks, student marks 195 88. But hey, do we have this student in the university? No, there is no student whose ID is 1. That means my data is wrong. Are you understanding? The data is wrong. So how to solve this problem? to solve this problem, we must use primary key and foreign key. Okay, so this is the reason why we use foreign key constraint, because it will remove the inconsistency. Inconsistency means incorrect data. That means the data is not correct, and it can be removed by using foreign key constraint. Am I clear with this part? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. Let's move on to see how can we solve this problem. To solve this problem, first of all, I need to delete the information from this table, because I already have one record. Yes or no? I need to delete this. So to delete the record, there is a command called truncate. Truncate. See this command? Please write down in your notebook. Okay, keep writing these commands in your notebook. I repeat, keep writing this command in your notebook. Okay, truncate. What you want to truncate? Truncate means delete. Truncate table uh, student marks. Okay, select your query and execute. Now what this will do, it will delete all the record from the table. So select star from student marks and let's select and execute. There is nothing, right? Okay, good. Now we have to set a primary key on this table. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's say describe. You know describe, right? So describe student info. So let's select execute. So this is my table here, all the columns, data types, is it null, not null, and is it key, but we don't have any key here. So now we have to set this column as a primary key, PK, primary key. How can I do that? To do this, you can use a command called alter. Alter, please write down in notebook first, all of you, alter table. Which table you want to change? Alter means change. I will write down here for you. No, alter, the meaning of alter means change, or you can say modify. So I want to modify this table. So alter table name. What is the table which I want to modify? Student info. Okay, next line, I want to set a primary key. So you can say add constraint. Okay, pk1, add constraint pk1, and then you can say primary key, and then you have to tell which column you want the primary key. I want this column to be primary key. Yes or no? So you can just put here ID. I want that column to be primary key. Now select your query and execute, and it is done. Okay, please write down this in your notebook and write the heading. This will help me to modify my table, and it will help me to add a primary key to my table. Okay, now if I want to see, I can use describe table, or you can say describe student info. Select and execute. Now look at this. Now it is PRI. That means this column is a primary key column. Am I clear with this part? Right? Okay, good, very nice. Let's move on. Now you can just try something. I will right click and clear this, and let's say insert into student info. Okay, values, and here I will insert some information. Let's insert that one. Okay, comma, then we have, you can see here we have name, so let's enter name Akash, comma, Then we have age. Let's enter age 35. Then we have address. Let's enter the address here. It is a varchar, so I have to use like that, Mumbai. Let's enter the country. Country is also varchar, so I have to use single quotes and say India. Okay, let's select this and insert the record, and it is inserted. You can see here. What next you have to do is write the query. Select star from where? From student info. So select your query and execute, and you will see that there is one record here whose ID is 1. Am I clear with this part? Right. Now let's modify this table, and let me show you. Let's make this column, okay, as a foreign key and connect to this table, and to this column. So let's alter. If I want to make this foreign key, I need to alter this table. Yes or no? Alter means change. So what you have to do, you have to say alter table. What is the table name? Student marks. Student marks, right? Good. Then what you have to do, you have to say add constraint fk1. Okay. Then you have to say foreign key. Which key is foreign key? Okay, so I want this column to be foreign key ID in my student marks table, so you can say ID. Okay, then you have to use a word called references. References to which table? Okay, references to which table? To this table, student info. So you have to put here student info, and then inside student info table, which column you want this column to be connected. Okay, so you have to give the primary key column. So this is going to connect to the primary key column of this table. So here you can say ID. Okay, so inside student info, this table ID is a primary key, and inside student marks, ID will become a foreign key. Am I clear with this part? If yes, then let's move on. So select your query and execute. Okay, and you can see it is success. Now I will use describe command. Okay, as you can see there, describe what? Describe student marks. So select and execute your query, and you will see that ID here. Okay, ID is, and then it is showing MUL. That means it is a foreign key now. It has become a foreign key. Okay, now what is the benefit of foreign key? Let's try to insert into student marks. Okay, insert into student marks values. What I want to insert, let's in the student marks I can insert 3 information ID. Okay, let's put 2 here, comma, Java marks, let's say 97, comma, MySQL marks, let's say 88. Okay, now select your query and execute. You will get error. See this error, insert statement. What is the error? Please read it here. Read the error. Cannot add or update child, a foreign key constraint failed. That means we are failing the foreign key constraint. Why this is not happening? Because there is no student whose ID is 2, so you cannot have a marks. Yes or no? Am I clear with this part? Let me do it for you. Let me write select star from student info. Okay, and my second query is select star from student marks. Am I clear with this? Right. So select your queries and execute. and you will see that there is a student whose ID is 1, but there is no student whose ID is 2. So can you insert a marks for the student who's not there? I was trying to insert marks for student ID number 2, but there is no student ID number 2. How can I insert marks? So my data is correct. My data is correct. Can I insert marks for student ID 1? Yes. So let's say insert into student marks, okay, values. This time I will say 1 comma, that is Akash, whose ID, what is the name of the student whose ID is 1? The name of the ID, the name of the student whose ID is 1 is Akash. So 199 comma 89. So will it work? Yes, this will work. Yes, it is done. You can see here it is working perfectly because the student whose ID is 1 is there in this table. So because these two tables are connected now. Okay, now if you see, say select star from student info, okay, and say select star from student marks, okay, select this to query and execute. So you can see here this is coming. 1 minute. Something is wrong. Yeah, here, yeah, here MARKS marks. Okay, I just put the wrong name of my table. So select your query and execute, and you will see that the student whose ID is 1, we have the marks over here, right? So that's all. That's all. This is the way you can. This is the way you can connect two table by using primary key and foreign key. I hope you have understood this. Okay. When you are creating a table, at that time you can create a foreign key. But if you forgot to create the foreign key when you are creating table, then you can use alter. Okay, alter command. You can use alter command. So what you can do, you can say alter table, table name, then you can say constraint add constraint fk1, then foreign key, you can give some, and then you have to say references, which table, you can use some table name and the column which you want to connect to. Okay, am I clear? That's all. That's all how to set up primary key and foreign key. So let's move on to the next topic. If you want, you can take a break of 5 minutes over here, and then you can see my other part of my video. Now for this you have to do the homework. Let me give you homework for this. What is primary key? What is foreign key? Question number 3rd. Create two tables. One, product table. Second, customer table, and connect the two tables using primary key and foreign key. Connect the two table by using primary key and foreign key. Okay, this is your homework for session number 1. Am I clear with this part? So that's all from here. See you in the next session, session number 2. In session number 2, we are going to learn more about what? About alter statement, and we will learn about insert statement. Okay, so see you in the next session. Bye bye.